Hello crafters, welcome back for another video on my YouTube channel. I'm Yana Smakula. I'm a passionate card maker, stamper, and an avid paper crafter. I'm hoping you will enjoy this tutorial. If you do, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell too to be notified of every new upload. As promised, I'm sharing a tutorial showing how to make a shadow box using specialty shadow box dies from Spellbinders and Becca Feeken. In my world, Becca is a paper genius, and she always comes up with such clever and functional designs that it's hard not to be a fan of her work. Her recent collection includes a set of 3 dies that each can be used to make shadow boxes. The different sets will give you different border width for the box, and each of the sets can be used to make a shadow box of literally any size as long as you have a sheet of paper big enough for it. All of these will work in die-cutting machines with a 6-inch opening, so you don't actually need to have a huge machine for these dies and to make these large shadow boxes. In her video tutorial, Becca says that one can create a shadow box up to 20 inches wide using her dies. And just so that you understand, you can purchase one die set and make any size shadow box. It can be 2x2 or 5x6 or 12x8, any size you need. You can make it using just one die set. And the cheapest one in that trio of dies is $14.99. If you don't want to get it now, you can wait until Spellbinders has a sale. They have great sales pretty often, and you can get it with 20, 30, maybe even 50% discount. There's actually a huge sale happening when this video goes live, and the sale will last until March 21st, 2019. But these dies are not on sale at the moment. If you want to check out the sale and see what products are on sale, there's a link in my video description. So back to the shadow box. There's some math involved. And there's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you make your first shadow box, the following projects will become easier and easier to make. Now, I'm a visual person, so I'm going to include some mathematical visuals in this video. Feel free to screenshot them, to save those, or come back and rewatch the video to help you create these shadow boxes. I also have same dimensions listed in the video description. My goal for this video is to teach you how to calculate the paper dimensions that you need for any size box that you would like to make, rather than giving you specific dimensions for just one size box only. I want to create a box for an A2 card. I'm using a 1-inch border die to make my box. It's the S4981. To calculate the size of the box that I need to add 1 inch, as this is the width of the border of the box, and I need to add it on each side of my card, so that's total 2 inches to the card width and to the card length. For an A2 card and 1-inch wide frame, the width is 6¼ inches and the length is 7½ inches. With these dimensions, once my frame is assembled, the opening in the center will fit an A2 card perfectly. Following this formula, you can easily make a box for any size project. Just add the width of the box twice to the width and length of your project. For a 1-inch wide box, you add 2 inches. For a 3¼ inch wide box, you add 1.5 inches. And for a 1/2 inch wide box, you add 1 inch. Once you have your dimensions, you can start pre-cutting your paper to make the sides or the legs of your box. You'll need 4 pieces of paper, 2 shorter pieces and 2 longer pieces if your box is rectangular. If your box is square, the size of all 4 pieces will be the same. The length of the box pieces is already determined. We just did that. It's the outer box dimensions. The width, however, is determined by which die set you're using, and it's specified for each set on the product page. Just look for the following number. So it's 4 inches for the 1-inch wide box, 3 inches for the 3/4 inch wide box, and 2.15 inches for the 1/2 inch wide box. I'm using the 1-inch wide box. So paper dimensions for my box are 4 inches wide by 6¼ inches long and 4 inches wide by 7½ inches long. I hope this explains the logic of how you need to calculate the desired dimensions of the box and the paper. Now that I have this figured out, I'm going to pre-cut my paper. Now there are 2 sets of dies in each of the Shadowbox die sets. There are 2 straight edge dies and 2 mitred edge dies. You use one set to cut your one set of paper pieces and another set to cut another set of paper pieces. It doesn't matter which, as long as you use the same type die for the same length paper. When aligning your dies, make sure you use the corner tabs to align with the edge of the paper. Now, this part of the footage is from another Shadowbox video that I filmed, so the paper size here is different. Don't mind the paper size, just pay attention to the alignment. You need to make sure that these are aligned exactly in the corner. After you've cut your paper, you need to score it, as the die only creates the beginning of a score line. You'll need a scoring tool, scoring board, and a scoring tool for this, and it's best to use a light hand when scoring. Now, do not go over the area that's already been scored by a die, as you might break the paper in that section, and I've done that, so just be careful. There are 5 score lines on each of the pieces. Once you're done scoring, go ahead and fold along those score lines on each of your pieces. Now, the next step is to connect all of these 4 pieces into one long piece or one long snake. This can be done in several ways. You can score another piece of paper and cut it into small pieces slightly smaller than the width of your box. These pieces are going to be inner connectors. You just add glue and adhere them to connect your pre-die cut pieces together. You can also use some tape to do the same. It's actually much easier, but it's just not as durable. Now, to connect the pieces, regardless of the method you decide to use, align the paper like you see on the screen. Again, this footage is from another box assembly, so don't mind the paper size here. I'm showing it because it's easier to see where to add connectors and in what order the pieces need to be assembled. So you just need to alternate between the pieces. In this example, I haven't yet folded the paper, so it's a little bit more tricky to do it now. Now let's go back to the proper size box. I've adhered the pieces together, and here I'm adding double-sided tape to the short flap of each piece. Now this will help hold each side of the box or each leg of the box together. I'm also adding one last connector, but I'm not yet attaching it to the other side. I'm just attaching it to one side, not to both, and I'll attach it to the other side once I'm finished assembling my shadow box. Next, I'm going to remove the liner from the double-sided tape and adhere the box sides together. Now, I will say that once you have your pieces pre-cut, once you figure out the meth part, there are really a few different ways that these boxes can be assembled, and the order in which things are done can be changed. For example, you can attach all of the pieces together and then fold on the score lines, or fold the paper first and then attach the pieces. You will have to try each of these methods to see which one is easiest for you. So now my long dimensional snake is done, and I can begin folding it or assembling it to form the box or the frame. Now, Becca recommends adding glue to the flaps so that the flap attaches to the other side of the box and holds the sides more securely together. And you do it like so. Now you can see that my box is a little bit crooked at this point. Now this is because I use thinner cardstock. I think the bigger box you make, the thicker cardstock it is best to use. I use the 80-pound cardstock here, but I should have used the 110-pound instead. It would have been much more sturdy and better looking. When you get to the end, you add glue to both flaps and insert the leg into the other leg to complete the frame. And the base shadow box or frame for the shadow box is done. How you take it from here is totally up to you, and Becca has many fabulous examples created. You can see many of them on Becca's blog and also a lot of them on the Spellbinders blog as well. To turn this frame into a box, I cut 2 more pieces of paper, a back piece and a front piece with a hinge to create a door for my frame. The back piece dimensions are the same as we calculated at the beginning of this video, so 6 1/4 by 7.5 inches. And the front piece is the same, plus about 1/2 inch on the shorter side to make a hinge. I've added double-sided adhesive to the flap to adhere it to the frame, and now I have my frame door. Next, I'm using glue and adding it to the back of the frame to adhere the backer piece and complete my shadow box. From here, you can embellish it any way you like by adding some pretty pattern paper, some ribbon, maybe even some stamping and some die cutting. Just as an example, I added some white glitter tape along the edge of my box. I'm going to place the card inside and it fits in nicely. Now, the box like this has many different uses. It can be a decorative box or it can be a functional box and serve as a mailing box for cards with lots of dimensional elements. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have questions about the process, please comment below, but please specify the time in the video to which you're referring to help me answer your question better. On the screen, there is a link to a playlist with all of my Spellbinders videos. Subscribe now not to miss any new card making tutorials. Love you guys. I'll see you next week.